2025 has been a very special year for Wentworth Woodhouse. We're proud to support Rotherham as it celebrates its place as the world's first children's capital of culture this year. And in July, we welcomed the Royal Horticultural Society Flower Show to the site. The Flower Show was a huge success and introduced tens of thousands of visitors to Wentworth Woodhouse for the very first time. We also hosted our We Wonder Festival in August, and for each of these events, the wonderful gardens at the west front of the house had a leading role to play. Earlier in the year, we completed the repair and restoration work on the west front railings. This beautiful Baroque facade fronts the private living accommodation of the families who lived here. The main doorway in the west front elevation was their private entrance to the house, and the delicate railings have been a key feature of the facade since it was completed in the 1730s. Back in 2020, it was very clear that the staircase which serves the main entrance was in a dangerous state. Many of the large stone steps had moved, and some had started to crumble due to damage caused by frost. When we dismantled and repaired the staircase, we didn't have funds available to also repair the beautiful iron railings that line either side of it. As a temporary measure, we secured the railings onto a steel framework, but a generous donation from the Elizabeth Kaiser Foundation allowed us to begin work on the restoration of the railings themselves in 2024. The northern section of the railings was the least decayed of the two sections. Most of the damage caused was done by water or ice. The railings on the north side of the staircase get more direct sunlight than those on the southern side, and this is probably the reason why they've survived in better condition. The railings are made of wrought iron, which is actually quite resilient when it comes to the effects of water, but once it's painted, it becomes very susceptible to damage, especially in areas where the paint layers have failed. Like much of Wentworth Woodhouse, our railings had been subject to decades of neglect, and the failing paint layers had trapped water against the iron, causing it to corrode. The southern section of railings was removed in April 2024. This was the most decayed and fragile section, and like its northern counterpart, had been fitted together using rivets and small tenons. The railings predate the use of screw threads that we would normally work with today. The railings were taken down in sections and labelled so that we could make sure that we put each baluster back in its original location. An assessment took place to identify which elements were missing or needed to be replaced. We also looked for repairs that had been done in the past, and where these were felt to be of poor quality, we replaced them. All of the repairs have been made using reclaimed wrought iron sections, which are then forged down to create the pieces that we need. Because we only need short lengths for this work, the easiest way is to start with salvaged wrought iron bars with a 1-inch square section. For the most part, the square sections of the railings had survived well. Most of the damage was found to be on the scrolls, clips and collars used on the balusters. 18th century wrought iron scrolls differ from their modern equivalents. They have what's known as a ribbon end, where the section of iron tapers down in thickness towards the end of the scroll. This is all hand forged before being reattached to the balusters. An interesting design observation is that the wavy bars seen here are only found on the sloping balusters, not on the ones that were used on the landing at the top of the staircase. We're not sure why that's the case, but it's a curious feature all the same. Once we'd completed the repairs to the southern section, they were given an undercoat of paint at the forge workshop. We actually trialled a number of different paint colours for the finishing coat. The paint layers on the railings were in such poor condition that it wasn't possible to establish the colour of the paint that was originally used. We selected an elegant dark green colour to complete the look of the railings, and this was also applied in the forge workshop. The south range of railings was returned to the house in January 2025 and was secured into the steps. We used the traditional hot leading technique that had been used when they were originally installed to do this work. To secure the balusters to the handrail, we've drilled and tapped the tops of all the balusters so that they can be fixed with metric screws. These go down through the core rail which sits underneath the handrail. The handrail section in turn is then screwed onto the core rail. Reassembling the railings in this way means that it's much easier to undertake maintenance or restoration. It's also very easily reversible should it be deemed inappropriate in future years. With the southern railings back in place, we then removed the northern section and repeated the repair process with them. They were returned in May 2025, just in time to welcome the crowds for the RHS Flower Show. We're incredibly grateful to the craftsmen and women who've worked on this project, and for the generosity of the Elizabeth Kaiser Foundation, which provided funding for the work. The repair and reinstatement of the west front railings at Wentworth Woodhouse has made a huge difference to the appearance of the Baroque facade and to the visual appeal of Wentworth Woodhouse as a whole.